I thought I had created the perfect head chop propagation of my beautiful variegated Lola until this happened. I am devastated, but I do have some takeaways from this experiment and I'm going to share them with you today. So this is a journey of my head chop of my beautiful variegated Lola and what happened along the way. So keep watching to find out what happened and what I've learned, and I'm going to share that with you today. This is a very scary day for me. So I bought this variegated Lola last year. It's probably one of my more expensive succulents. It was about $50. It was one of them kind of impulse buys, and I probably shouldn't have spent that much on it, but I did, and I love it. But because I spent that much, I really want to propagate it. And the only way to do so with a variegated plant is to head chop it. Obviously, you can leaf prop it, but it's not very common that you will get variegated pups from those leaves. It's more likely that they will be just the non-variegated form. Obviously, it's something I'm going to try anyway. I'll try and take some leaves off, but the way to guarantee success of variegation is to head chop. So I think the best way forward with this one is to maybe, I was going to say remove it from the pot, but I don't really want to disturb the roots. So I just want to make sure there's room for me to kind of get in there. So what I might do is kind of raise it a little bit and put a little bit more soil at the bottom, just so it's a bit higher up so I can get a good look in there. So bear with me. So I'm going to pop it in here, and I'm going to add, where's my lovely scoop? Here it is. To kind of raise it up, take the label out, we know what that is. Okay, so I don't really want to, don't know if I wanted to do that, but I just want to make it a bit higher in the pot, so that's better, so I can actually get in there and have a look at what I'm doing. When they are quite low, it's really hard to get a good angle and have a look at what I'm doing. So just put some stones back in there. Okay, so here she is. This terrifies me. Absolutely terrifies me, but I need to be brave. So what I'm going to do is remove one of these leaves. As always, I like to remove a leaf so we've got some room to put in the knife. So I'm just going to gently pop that to the side. So there was a really nice click there, and that growth point is intact. There you go, I can see a bit better now. So that hasn't ripped, it's all closed. It's a really good leaf prop there, so that hopefully will root, but like I say, it's quite rare that you'll get a variegated pup from a variegated leaf prop. So shall I take another one off? Oh my god, I'm so nervous. If I take this one, that one came off quite nicely as well. So I'm going to use a knife. I'm going to sterilize it with my alcohol spray. And I'm going to be very brave and do this. So just wondering what will happen on the other side. I think I'm going to start chopping and just see what happens. So let's have a look. It's quite a thick stem. So I'm just starting to make some cuts there in the stem. I want to be quite gentle with it so I can guide where the cut is going rather than just shove my knife in and hope for the best. This is quite a pointy knife, so it's going through quite well, but I just don't want to be too rough with it. My knife is now stuck. I need to wiggle out a bit, right? And let's have a look what's going on around here. So if I put my knife in here, sorry I keep knocking the camera. Do I want that leaf to come off? Yeah, that can be attached to the head. So I'm just trying to guide really what leaves are going onto the head as well. I'm sure people do head chops a lot more aggressive than this, but this plant means a lot to me. There we go. Oh, I've done it. My goodness, that was terrifying. So there is the stem, there is the head. I'm exhausted. So there we go. that will hopefully root. And it's really a big plant anyway, so it's not a bad thing to chop it. I'm just trying to give myself some reassurance now I've done it. But yeah, that should root. What I'm going to do, like all my other ones, is pop it on a little pot, and it can sit there and obviously get a nice even amount of sunlight. That will make sure it doesn't lean, and then this one will hopefully grow some nice pups. We've got some leaves on there, which means the plant will continue to get some energy. I think I might take that one off. It was just hanging on for life. So there are 3 leaves, which you never know, might propagate. So I'll just put them kind of on here for now, and then in a couple of weeks I'll see what they're up to. Leaf props are, I find with my normal Lola, leaf props are very, very slow. Like, I'm talking 6 months before there's even roots. So I don't know if that's just a Lola thing, but we'll find out from this variegated one. But I've done the head chop. I have made it. Oh my god, terrifying, but I've done it. Yay! First update for this lovely Lola is just over 3 weeks since the head chop, and so far I cannot see any roots at all, which is not unusual. That's quite normal time frame wise. It would be quite early, I would say, if we saw any roots, but I'm expecting them over the next couple of weeks, hopefully. Yeah, that's me being optimistic, but it's getting a nice even amount of sunlight. It's not tilting, it's nice and flat, it looks beautiful still, so that's really good. And then just to look at the stem, obviously I removed a couple of leaves. We've got a very, very small root coming from that leaf, which is good. It could be variegated, it could be non-variegated, who knows. And tiny, tiny, tiny dot of pink, so something's forming there. And this other leaf, I can't see anything on that one yet at all, so nothing yet. However, we do have some babies. So on this stem we've got a little pup under this leaf, and one next to it, on like immediate next to it on the right, a smaller one, and then we've got one around here as well. And I think just remove that so you can see a little bit better. So just here as well. I think it's just those 3 at the moment, but I'm happy with that. That's really good. So yeah, just over 3 weeks, and we've got 3 pups. And yeah, they should obviously just continue to get bigger and bigger. So just keep an eye on the thirstiness of the plant. This is actually really, really plump, so it doesn't need any water. And obviously we wouldn't offer any water to the head unless you wanted to water propagate it to get it going, but I'm just going to keep it as it is for now. I'm probably going to just keep these leaves sitting in here until the roots are a little bit more, and then I'll put them on in some soil and offer them water. But yeah, that's the update so far. So it's now the 12th of July, and we have got roots starting to appear. So they've only appeared in the last couple of days, but they've now popped from both sides. I just saw a little tiny pink spot from one side the other day, but now we've got 2 lots, and you can see quite a few little roots coming out of both parts here. So that's amazing. That's a really good sign that it's now starting to root. So the head looks exactly the same as before. We've got no stretching. It doesn't even really look thirsty at the minute. Obviously what plants do is use energy from the lower leaves to create those roots. So I would expect a lot of these leaves to get really soft and eventually go quite crispy. But so far it's yeah, looking really happy, still really beautiful. And yeah, it's doing good. It's rooting again, so I can actually sigh relief on that one because I was so nervous. But I will show you now the stem, and we'll see what the update is. So this is the stem. I was a little bit paranoid about it as it was right at the front of my shelf, so it has got a little tiny bit scorched. However, I've now moved it a little bit further back so it's not in direct sunlight, and it's doing really well. So you can see this leaf here has got, it's got this tiny little pup which has appeared. I don't know if that will be variegated. It's very, very rare that you'd get a leaf prop which is variegated from a variegated plant, and they usually just come out as a non-variegated form. But either way, I'm happy that it's propping, and nothing on this one yet. And this one's got a tiny pink root. Actually, there is a tiny pup there. It's really hard to see, but it's just appearing there. And the main thing is the stem. So this is where the variegated pups would form, and we've got one under there. We have got one over here, another one next to that one as well. So we've got 3 so far, which is amazing. Yeah, so hopefully those three will continue to grow nicely. I'm just going to water it when it gets thirsty. At the minute, if you squeeze the leaves sideways, they're really firm still, so they definitely don't need any water. That one's got a little bit more give actually than these ones. But yeah, I'm going to leave it for now. No water is required at this stage, and I'll just keep an eye on it. They're yeah, growing really well. Obviously liking the position they're in. So yeah, I will check back with you soon. Actually, just to add to that, I'm going to put this in with my leaf props. So I have a tray of leaf props. I will show you. So just a casual tray of leaf props here and here. And I'm not going to show you them all because I've got so carried away this year. So what I'm finding is as soon as a leaf starts to root and also pup, if I put it in one of these small cells, like they are tiny, this is my finger compared to one of them, so they are teeny cells, but as soon as you put them in there and you offer them water, I'm doing it once a day at the moment, they just grow so much quicker. So I'm going to do that with the Lola leaf as well, and hopefully that will continue to grow. So I wouldn't usually do an update, it's only been 4 days, but I'm just casting my eye over my head chops and just noticed that the roots have really grown in the last 4 days. So obviously, like you saw in the last clip, they had literally just started. And I always seem to find this with head chops, they can take a while to get started, but once they do, they go to town. Like, they are really long in 4 days. So I'm going to leave them. I don't want to pot them on yet. I need them to be a bit longer. Obviously you can do, but it's just not my preference. So I'd like them to grow a bit longer, but it's a really good start and they look really nice and healthy. So this is good. And it's update time. So let's have a look. Wow, look at those roots. So I did look at this a few days ago and I thought they are ready. They need some soil. They're ready to be potted on. I just didn't want them to dry out. It worries me sometimes they put all the effort into these roots and they dry out a bit quickly. So yeah, I'm going to put them in some soil. It still looks amazing though, doesn't it? It doesn't really have any difference. Maybe the leaves are just a little bit squishy around the edges. Not too bad considering. But yeah, I'm going to pot it on. When I pot on head chops, I don't like to put them in a big pot. So originally it was in something like this, which obviously fits the size of the rosette. But the roots will be absolutely drowned out in there with soil. So I'm probably going to use, yeah, a smaller pot like that. I could go for the terracotta. Do I want to go for the terracotta? No, I think I'm going to go for the white one, just because I think if I knock that, that will fall off, and I do not want to damage this beauty. So this one's just a bit more sturdy because it's a bit bigger for that. So I'm just going to make sure the grit or the mixture is really gritty. Yeah, so let's pot it on now. So this is my nice gritty mix. So what I'm actually going to do is just add pure grit into the bottom. I might have a little tub next to it. So that is just grit. I don't want it to have any chance of having too much moisture in there. And then this side seems to be a bit more gritty. So I'm just going to pop some of that in there. Stand up straight. And then just rest the succulent on top. I think I want a bit more grit. There we go. So I'm just going to pop that around the side, fill up the pot. And there we go, as easy as that. So I'm not going to water this for quite some time still. The leaves are a little bit squishy, but there's no rush to water them because these ones are really firm. So I'm just going to leave that in the pot unless it continue rooting into the soil. I'm probably going to move it back into my hobby greenhouse rather than this one, which has got my head chops in it, and put it on top shelf so it'll get lots of nice light. And yeah, I just need to remember not to forget about it. And yeah, water it. I'd probably say another month, but we'll see. I'll update you when I've made the decision. And here is the stem. So I don't know if I mentioned last time, but I was a little bit concerned that it got a bit burnt, and I do wonder if that's what's happened, because this has gone quite black, and unfortunately one of the pups looks like it's kind of dried out. So I'm tempted to remove this. Yeah, I think it's got burnt, which is really annoying. I have moved the location of it now. And this one has gone a bit yellow, so I'm going to leave that one, but keep a close eye on it because this yellow normally is like a indication of rot. So we will see. It could be just that it's obviously depleted and using energy for these two little pups under here. So they're still, oh, that's fallen off now. They're still growing nicely. So we'll just keep an eye and see what happens, really. Just hoping that they didn't get too burnt. But yeah, that's the update so far. Oh, and just to note also, we've got another pup appeared on this leaf and nothing on this one yet. And obviously this one that's just come off, so that's where we are with the pups. So I have bad news, and I really didn't want this kind of news for this specific plant. Oh, I think I mentioned before that it possibly got a little bit burnt. So when I went to just check it the other day, this leaf was kind of quite mushy, so that just fell off. And now it's obviously all gone crispy and brown. And then this leaf fell off. Obviously looks quite brown. And I've got some sad news. These pups have also crisped over. So I think where it was on the shelf, it's just got too much light. It has been absolutely scorching. So I think it's just obviously a little bit of whatever the sunlight was that maybe was coming through the door. It must have been afternoon sun. It's just absolutely scorched the plant. So these leaves are no good. This one's now obviously turning into obviously a burnt bit there. So I'm so gutted because it is probably literally where I've left it on the shelf, which is annoying because it wasn't on the end of the shelf which gets all the sun. It was a bit further back because I was trying to be a bit cautious with it. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I haven't been checking it all the time, and unfortunately it has got burnt. So I do have a couple of leaves. Obviously they may just create the standard form, a non-variegated Lola. The other one's in a tray already. This one's now started to grow a little bit more, so I'll put them together, and you never know, they could become variegated, but the chances are slim, but you never know. So I was just going to have a look at this because to start with it looked like rot, but now I've left it a little bit longer and I can see the black. I do think it is a burn basically. So I just don't know what would be a good move now. Is this it? Is this the end of the stem? Is it, yeah, all the chances of it surviving gone? Obviously we have got the head, so I'm not, you know, completely, haven't lost anything. I've literally just got now a head that's rerooting, and maybe in a couple of years I can try it again and just be extra careful because obviously variegated plants are a little bit more susceptible to burns because of the coloration on them. So, you know, it's something I should have been a bit more careful with, and lesson learned. This is all, you know, the hobby is about learning from mistakes and things, but I just want to take this out of the pot and have a look at the stem and the roots just to see what it looks like out of interest, because I'm not going to lose anything now by taking out the pot anyway. So let's have a look. And the reason I wanted to check is because I watered it a lot before it was first head chopped, because I wanted to make it nice and plump. Excuse my Haribo lid, but instead of tipping this all onto my lovely little grassy area, I just wanted to sit on here. So I just wanted to check to see if it was root rot, but the more I've left it, the more I've seen, no, that does really look like burn. So I just wanted to see if we've got any issues in here which may mean that it wasn't a burn. I'm just curious really, but let's have a look. I was wondering if I could chop it a bit more and then more would grow, but I think by the looks of this, there's not really. Oh, there are some fresh roots there. Not really much going on here. There are some roots, like I say, but unfortunately I think that has just been frazzled. So I will put it back up into maybe a smaller pot now I've removed all that, and give it a water, because you never know. It's worth trying. But at this stage I think I'm just lucky to have 2 leaf props, or 3, I can't remember how many now, from it, and obviously the head is rerooting and it's now gone back into the other greenhouse. So I've still got the plant, I've lost nothing, I just haven't gained what I wanted to, especially the 3 pups. It's like, oh, it's just frustrating, but there we go. So I'm going to pop these 2 and that crispy one into the bin now. This one might do something if it's not burnt, and this one will just go in the tray with the other one. So we just wanted to check the leaf prop here, and this is the original one, so I can't really tell at the minute what it is if it's variegated or not, but it has started to root in there, so it's growing nicely. Whatever it is, I think that's something that I'll just have to continue to keep an eye on over the next couple of months and see what happens. But you never know, fingers crossed, we might have some positive news. But these other ones have just been placed over here. I need to label them, so do not forget. Yeah, and hopefully they'll grow, and you never know. So I'm going to pot this back up into a smaller pot because there was a hell of a lot of soil in there, but it was a huge plant originally. So I'm just going to put some fresh soil in there, pot this back up, be very gentle with it. I think it's a lost cause, but the positivity in me is saying you never know. So because I've disrupted the roots a little bit there, I'm not going to give it any water now. I'll probably give it some water in about 3 days. It could be a complete waste of time, but I've got to try these things. So unfortunately, we have a unsuccessful propagation. I'm so gutted. It is just one of those things. It's just unfortunate that the light happened to be really strong that day, and where it was sitting, it obviously got a really big blast of it. So I've watered this twice now, hoping that something might happen, but as you can see, the roots and the stem are now dying off. That little pup there, which was beautiful and variegated, is no more, and the same with these ones around here. So unfortunately, we don't have any pups. We would have done if they hadn't got burnt. So it's just one of those things. I just need to learn a lesson from this and realise that yeah, variegated succulents are a little bit more prone, or what's the word, susceptible to sunburn, and yeah, just need to be a bit more careful. It's kind of I think it's a fine balance between them getting burnt and them not getting enough light. So sometimes you just have to be extra careful, and that is something I'm definitely need to do in the future. So unfortunately we haven't got the pups, but the head does live on. It's rooting really nicely. It's now back in the greenhouse with the rest of the collection, and it's doing really well. So we haven't lost anything, but we haven't gained anything as well. So unfortunately that is just sometimes how it goes. I have got lots of successful props which have grown so many pups, so it's just one of those things. You win some, you lose some. So as I mentioned, I haven't completely lost. I've still got my beautiful head, which is rooting really nicely. It's doing really well here in this greenhouse, and it's stunning. So I'm really happy we don't have any problems with this. What we'll do is just have a quick look to see what the roots are like and just see how well it's doing, and if it's time maybe to offer it a little bit of water. So we'll do that next. Just to mention also, before we look at Lola and the roots, I am probably going to add some fresh soil to it. It's not 100% necessary, but looking back through the video, I can see that the soil was kind of very clumpy and really big bits of kind of bark and stones in there. And since the video over the summer, I've kind of changed my mind on the mixture I want to use. So I'm now sieving my compost. I'm using the John Innes #2, which I have done through most of this year, but I'm giving a really good sieve to get rid of the bark, because there's so much bark now in compost, and they hold on to too much moisture. Succulents do not like that, so I'm removing them out of it, as well as the big stones, and that just makes the compost more fluffy and finer, so that water can kind of drain through it a lot better, and it's not holding on to too much moisture in certain parts. I'm also adding horticultural grit, which I've always done, but I'm now washing it as well, because I've noticed there's so much dirt and dust that is on that grit that when you wash it, it's insane how much dirt comes off. So when obviously that is in your mixture and you're watering your succulents, that dirt is coming off into the mix, and it could be clogging up the aeration and the kind of the gaps that the mixture needs for the airflow to get through, and also the water to get through. So that could be another reason that could be causing rot in succulents. And I'm also adding another substrate, which is molar clay, and I've used that in previous years, but I thought with these three, the compost, the horticultural grit and the molar clay, They'll make a really good gritty mix, which is full of kind of gaps to get that air in there, like I say, and it gives the roots a chance to breathe, but also get some nutrients from that soil and get the moisture when it needs to, but not hold on to it for too long. So if you see me now repotting into a slightly different mixture, that's why, and it's something I'm trialing, and I've got a video coming soon on everything about it. So let's take a look and see what she's been up to. Oh, amazing. Look at those roots. So just going to, if there's any leaves which are completely dried off, I'm just going to remove them because they can attract bugs. While I'm discussing that, I will just check to see if we've got any mealies or anything, because I do not want them touching my beautiful plant. So this one's really crispy. Oh, and we've got some fresh roots just under there as well. So these are the pink fresh roots up here. As you can see, we've got loads of lovely healthy white roots. These leaves here are kind of depleted, but not enough to remove. The plant is still using them as energy to create those beautiful fresh roots. And the same here, it's not completely crispy, it's got a little bit of life left in it, so I'll leave that on. And what I will do is pot it up into my new mixture, and then once it's settled, so maybe 3 to 5 days, because I have just disturbed those roots, so I don't want to offer any water in case the water gets into them when they are then disturbed. Yeah, I'll offer it some water because it is getting a little bit more thirsty than it was, so it can have a little drink, but I will just give it a drip, just to encourage those roots to grow a little bit more into the soil. But yeah, I'm really happy. I have a successful head chop because the head lives on. And just checking the leaf props, this one has rooted into the soil, but it doesn't have a pup. And this one does have a small pup, so it'll be interesting to see what happens to that. And I did actually repot one of these into a bigger cell tray yesterday, so let's have a look at that. So I can't see any variegation on there, and like I've mentioned a few times, it's very rare that it would be variegated, but it's still beautiful, and it's got 2 pups. So yeah, I'm gonna treasure that one and give it lots of TLC, and hopefully it will turn into a beautiful plant of its own, whether it's variegated or not. So I'd definitely say this is a lesson learned for me. I have beheaded numerous succulents over the years and never really had this kind of failure of like what I've taken so personally. But it's one of those things, isn't it? It's just it's a learning curve. And what I would say my takeaways from this, having looked over the video and all the steps that were taken, I can see a few little kind of red flags along the way. So the first one I did mention in the video is where I said that the plant was at the front of the shelf getting quite a lot of light, because I was quite paranoid about them stretching and not getting enough light. But what that means is in the greenhouse where they were located, they were kind of near the door, so they didn't have any shade netting, and normally don't get too much light there, but on a really hot and a really intense day, they do get it a little bit. So it was probably just like an hour of intense sun which has done it, but that's all it takes. With variegated plants, they are very susceptible to the sun. They obviously need a lot of sunlight to keep the colour, but they also don't want too much because that can burn them, because they are that more kind of sensitive to it. So it is a really kind of balancing act with them. And what I would do next time is either leave the succulent at the back. In the video I mentioned that I move it further to the back, which I should have done at the start, or either put up a little bit of shade netting. So this shade netting I use in this greenhouse, I've probably got 3 or 4 layers on here at the moment, but I could have just added a sheet of that just at the front of the shelf, just to protect them from that sun. It does make such a difference, and that would have kind of, you know, lessened the strength of the sun that they were getting, but still given them enough light. So like I say, it is a balancing act, and it's one of those things that I know for next time to just be extra cautious. It's just, unfortunately, it was my Lola, which means so much to me, but you know, it's okay, it still survives. The next thing I would take from the video is I show you that there's still a yellow leaf left on the stem, and now looking back, I would remove that as soon as I could, because what I've learned this summer from having such intense heat in the greenhouse is that rot doesn't come from just the stem or the roots or water sitting in the crown. Rot can happen to succulents which are basically overheating. So if you've got some really chunky leaves on your succulents which are full of water, if the sun is scorching them, for quite a long period of time, that water basically boils inside the leaf, and it causes the water from that leaf to kind of seep back into the stem, which means the rot then comes from the leaf into the stem. It's something I've not had before, but unfortunately I have lost my variegated compactum this year from that, and it was a hard lesson learned as well. This year is really full of lessons. I've done this for 5 years, but it just seems I'm learning so much every year, which is amazing. But yeah, so just be really careful with anything variegated if it's full of water and sitting somewhere where it can get scorched, or a lot of heat, I would say, because even though I've got shade netting up, it happened in here. So it's just kind of on those days which are extra hot. I now chuck over another layer of really dark, I think it's 80% shade netting over all my variegated ones throughout the kind of hottest part of the day, really. So what I've noticed is if the leaves are turning yellow, it doesn't necessarily mean that they might be okay. They're not okay. There's something wrong with them. They've got too much water in them. That water can seep through into the stem, and that rot can then go through the stem into the rest of the plant. Whereas if you remove that leaf quickly, it might save that stem, for example. So if I would remove that yellow leaf, would my Lola have survived? I don't know, but it's something I would do differently next time if I had the chance to. So that's maybe something that you can use for your succulents. So even though I lost the pups, unfortunately, and the stem, as I've mentioned, I still have the head. So it was a success, not quite the one I was hoping for, but still, we live and we learn. I've still got those leaf props that I've shown you, so it does live on, and we have gained something from doing the head chop. But really, ultimately, it is kind of the learning process which I take away from these experiments, and it is always a risk to do so, but it's so worth it. Like, I've got so many positive head chop stories that I can share with you as well, but this one I wanted to share just because it's relatable, it's real life, and it's good to learn these things from doing these different experiments. But I hope you've learned something from this video. If you have, and you've got any stories you can share with me about your head chops, I'd love to hear them. I'll be doing more videos like this in the future with lots of experiments. I've got another one on my what is this plant called? Is the Rose of Betrayal, which is doing really well. I actually head chopped that and the Lola at the same time, and typically I've got very different results. So I'll share that with you in a video in the future. So please subscribe if you would like to see that. I really appreciate it. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.